You remember Joga Bonito, right? Portuguese for play beautiful? The calling card for an iconic ad campaign by Nike in 2006 with the aim of removing cynical styles of football to encourage players to play beautiful. Yeah. What if I told you those two words killed futsal? Joga Bonito stands as a seminal moment in football's rise to popularity. One could make the case that the only thing as impactful is the 1970 World Cup, which was the first to broadcast globally in color. And then there's Joga Bonito. This clip of Ronaldinho hitting a CGI ball off the crossbar again and again would be the first video on YouTube to hit 1 million views. Football, which was already a popular sport, ascended into another tier of mainstream popularity. These ads were awesome and deserved all the praise they got. I remember watching them in loops for hours and hours as a kid. Whether it was the Brazil national team juggling in the locker room before a game, or Ronaldo and Zlatan Ibrahimovic going skill for skill. The selection of players alone was crazy. Thierry Henry, Cristiano Ronaldo, R9, the real Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, and even Messi. Yes, Messi was a Nike athlete at one point. Google is your friend. Each ad was a banger. They presented football not as a sport, but as a movement to be a part of. They had football vending machines across London and even had a social network, Joga.com, where you could post clips of yourself playing beautifully. In Nike gear, of course. Joga Bonito was ahead of its time and built the football culture we have today. What a lot of people seem to forget is that Joga Bonito introduced the world to street football and futsal as viable forms of entertainment. The clip of Henry playing some street ball in France and the legendary clip of a young Ronaldinho running circles around his opponents. Hell, it looked like he was dribbling his teammates, had fans intrigued. They noticed that it's not traditional football that they're playing there. Suddenly, the whole world was tuned into futsal. As viral as Joga Bonito ads were, so were clips of street ballers snatching ankles, and even more influential, clips of Falcao, the futsal GOAT, making men do the splits on his command. No diddy. You're probably hearing all this and have seen the thumbnail of the video and are thinking, how exactly did Joga Bonito kill futsal? For all the futsal that Joga Bonito brought to the world, something big is missing from the ad campaign. It's pretty obvious, but a lot of people fail to point it out. Can you see it? If you think you know what it is, don't cheat and drop it in the comments right now. If your answer is that there are no professional futsal players featured in any of the ads, you guessed right. They bastardize futsal without platforming it in any real way. Futsal is filled with beautiful play. In fact, you can't win anything in futsal without playing beautifully. Nike, of course, knew this and used it without really pointing to the sport of futsal. Now, of course, maybe Nike didn't have any futsal players signed at the time, but they were making futsal shoes, so I'm sure they could have figured it out. And you could make the argument that these were ads for the 2006 World Cup, and platforming futsal would have muddled the messaging. So why did they include futsal in the first place? This bastardization of futsal caused what I call the Rock effect. You see The Rock in so many movies, but you can't name any of the characters he's playing. You just see The Rock. Joga Bonito meant when people saw futsal, they thought about Ronaldinho or Henry and didn't care to know who Schumacher or Manuel Tobias were. Type in futsal on TikTok or Instagram right now. Well, not right now, but after this video is done. More than likely, you will find a sea of skill compilations, and that'll be all that is there. Joga Bonito painted futsal as a skill fest. And yes, futsal is filled with insane skills, but there are still slow moments in the sport. Joga Bonito only offered a fantastical version of futsal, where every dribble is a step over. I have had people in my lives, when watching futsal, say they're bored. Like, nah bro, you watch a 90-minute sport, which sees the ball out of play for most of the game and has Jordan Henderson and other barbers who only pass the ball sideways and backwards. But if your idea of futsal is Joga Bonito, it's like only watching WWE and then watching a UFC match and asking, when will Max Holloway whip out the 619? Joga Bonito made it so that the only futsal worth enjoying is anything that has to do with dribbling. It made it so that beautiful passing moves, which are just as prevalent as great skills in futsal, were not worth appreciating. If you're enjoying this video, leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe. And if you want to see me make more videos consistently, check out my futsal manga, iFoot. It follows the story of Diordine and Keske, two players who attempt to become one on the court. Diordine has all the foot skills, but he can't see passes on the court even though he wants to be a playmaker. Keske, on the other hand, has the futsal IQ of a supercomputer and can see all the passes, but has the foot skills of a giraffe on sleeping meds. So, Keske will see the passes and Diordine will play them on the court as they attempt to become one player on the court. So yeah, when you get the chance, go check out my manga, iFoot. Enjoy the rest of the video. Joga Bonito is Nike's greatest ad campaign to date, which is why they brought back the T90 aesthetic from that era and are bringing back the R10 tempos that kicked the movement off in an effort to act on the nostalgia of the iconic campaign. And even today, they repeat the same mistakes without including any futsal players in the campaign. Somehow, Travis Scott has gotten more exposure than any futsal players. Mind you, in 2025, Nike futsal shoes are very good and well-liked and represented at major tournaments like the World Cup. But it doesn't matter, because the killing of futsal was 19 years ago, with Joga Bonito putting the final nails in the coffin. This video was inspired by Fat Memer's video on Joga Bonito. You should go check that out. Very good video, very well done. And yeah, as far as Nike killing futsal with Joga Bonito, I think it's interesting that Nike does produce futsal shoes that in the professional futsal community, like the Luna Gatos, are very well liked, but they never really push futsal at all. And my thing is, I'm guessing from a business standpoint, they really don't have to, because if you're the type of person who plays football, you more than likely already play futsal, and there's really no reason for them to promote the sport when they're going to get residual money. It's kind of like if you watch the One Piece anime, there's really no reason to then go and sell the One Piece manga as well, because there's probably going to be crossover anyways. And even if there isn't, maybe the anime is already making enough. And I think football in this case makes Nike so much money that it's like there's no point. And if someone is going to play 5v5 anyways, they're going to go cop some Nike shoes regardless. So there's no real need to promote the sport in any way or form. But what's interesting, like I said in the video, there is just kind of this bastardization of futsal that goes on. Like they're doing these street futsal tournaments, these Toma tournaments. I think the latest one was just in Miami, and you've got R9 there, you've got Travis Scott there. I want to say maybe Ronaldinho's there, but you've got all of these like Nike icons, so to speak, and you can't throw in Ricardinho there to start a game or do a little speech or something. And they're not platforming the Luna Gatos there as well. So it's this like strange detachment and I don't know, avoidance to ever really platform the sport of futsal itself, but just kind of use it, you know what I mean? Just kind of, like I said, bastardize it. And they're not the only ones guilty of this at the moment. New Balance are making a futsal shoe with Jack Harlow. They're doing the New Balance 442. And as far as that's going, and as far as I know, there's no real futsal players involved in the advertising for that or anything of that sort. And I think that just like, I don't know why that occurs. I think futsal has a problem of not really promoting itself in the first place. And I think because of that, brands feel like there isn't really a need to attach futsal to things explicitly, because futsal in many regards I don't know, I think the community isn't as prevalent on social media. But I do think part of that is also Joga Bonito. I think Joga Bonito, as far as like English speaking countries is concerned, made futsal just kind of the spectacle and not really a sport. So there's not a lot of English content creators per se in the futsal space that like talk about futsal. A lot of people are just going around filming it, which is great. I love the skill videos. I love skill compilations. I repost a lot of them on TikTok and Instagram because those are doing something for the sport. But there's not anybody really who's in an English speaking country, like I said, really just like making like content that's like tactical, content that's like talking about the history of futsal or like players or anything of that sort. I know I do my part, and I know Futsal Jake at Futsal News, they do their part. But I think Nike made it so that, hey, for you guys over here, this is just a spectacle sport. Enjoy the skills, eat the skills up, but the real main course meal is football, and that's always going to be the case. And I think they've like inadvertently set that precedent, because I don't think Nike really did this on purpose. I think if futsal could flourish and they could really make even more money off of it, they would. But I think inadvertently that's kind of what they've created, which is fascinating, like I've said, because Nike shoes are very well appreciated in the futsal space, and I'd love to see a little bit more involvement with futsal professional players, teams, what have you, with Nike in a way that's like meaningful and gets the message of the game across. Imagine Joga Bonito specifically for futsal. I think I would call it play crazy. I think that's a little bit more akin to futsal. Play crazy or play insane. Play beautiful works as well. Futsal is a beautiful sport. And yeah, I don't know. So you guys let me know. Do you think Joga Bonito did kill futsal? Am I exaggerating? Am I reaching? Or is there something there? I do think a lot of people, even when I watch futsal, there'll be times where I'm like, when's the next Rabona gonna like pop up? You know? And part of that is just that Joga Bonito education, so to speak. But yeah, that's me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. And yeah, peace.